Action, 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 shoulder to the wheel, okay? It's Friday, and you know Friday is the main event because it's Bishaw's boys, okay? Bishaw, go ahead, introduce your boy.
All right, so we got one of my best friends, my main man, tight end at Ohio State, Cade Diesel Power Stover. What you got for him today, Jordan?
I told you Bishaw holds it down on Friday. And today it's going to be 3 segments. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, we're going to get to the bottom of Cade Stover, the Ohio State tight end. We're going to get to the bottom of Cade Stover, the farmer. And we're going to get to the bottom of the chip on his shoulder and his toughness. So number one, before we get into all that in the next 20 minutes, it's going to be action-packed. First things first, I asked the great Tommy Eichenberg, I asked the great Steel Chambers this. Cade, can you take me to the moment where it was Urban Meyer's, I want that man?
Yeah. So the first time I talked to Urban was my freshman year of high school. He came up to the school, and I got called like on the PA system, "Hey, Cade, come down to the whatever room this is." So I was like, "Okay, you think you're in trouble and shit." Comes down there, looks at me like in Urban. I walk in the room, Urban's looking, Urban's standing. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And he looks at me, shakes my hand, and walks out. That was it. And I was like, what the? And my head coach is like, what is? That's it. I mean, he left. Like, that was it. I didn't talk to him. Like 2 days later, you start like to get the Twitter email, Twitter messages, shit like that. And then right after the football season, my sophomore year, I came down there on just an unofficial visit, and he offered me down there and just was like, "Hey, we're trying to build this. We're trying to like hometown kid, and we want you to come here." So that was really how it started for me.
Hometown hero. Now that makes me ask one question. So you're a young guy, freshman year, and you're talking to the great Urban Meyers. So I'm assuming you broke your high school record in basketball. You knew you were a stud athlete. Did you still feel extremely lucky at that moment that you were given this opportunity, or was it, I've worked so hard, I was ready for this, or was there still a certain amount of excitement?
I mean, I was still a freshman, so like there was still a lot to do, I guess, in that situation. But I mean, I was pretty pumped. I was actually kind of pissed that he didn't say a word to me. I was like, what the, like, why in the hell would he come here and not even fucking say a word to me? Like, that's just weird.
Yeah.
But getting to know him more, it's just kind of how I ran that place. And and it was hard once you got down there. It was hard to not go there being so close.
Yeah. Well, a coach as famous and with, as much rapport as Urban Meyers, saying no words honestly feels like it might be part of his mystique, especially to a freshman he's recruiting. Do you agree with that, sir?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to get into the real action, which is Stover Farms, okay? And listen, Stover Farms, it's corn, soybeans, and wait for it, 100 cattle. Cade, I want to hear the Stover Farms.
Well, first off, with Stover Farms, we got to give a shout out to my man, Trevor. This is Cade's dad and Chelsea.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They hold that place down. Cade does, Cade's starting to do the main work of it now, but they still hold it down.
For sure. Stover Farms is, I mean, exactly. It's a family farm that my mom and my dad, they bought in 99 up here. So I was born in 2000, so I've lived here my whole life and started from like 4 cows up to around 100 now. And we just sell. So we raise all natural, all non-GMO corn. There's no implants. There's no hormones. Everything we feed these cows is all what we grow here. So, I mean, we raise freezer beef, and we just sell. We take a steer or heifer in, a fat one every single week, and we just sell halves and quarters off of that, and just to local people around the area. And it's worked pretty well for us now.
Okay, wonderful. And that's at Stover Farms on Instagram, okay? And Cade, one cool anecdote is, so my brother-in-law, he played football at Grinnell. It's just a tiny school in Iowa. His family actually has a dairy farm I got to check out. I didn't know just how much technology was involved in these farms nowadays, because they got all these fancy pumps on the cows and all this stuff. I have no clue what's going on. Can you explain farm life to a dummy for me just so I can learn about it a little bit more?
Yeah, so our farm, like our farm's not necessarily big enough yet to validate all the new fancy technologies like a new dairy farm would or something like that. So we're more old school since it's just really just me, my dad, and my mom, my two sisters that work. We don't hire anybody. It's just us. So
That's gritty.
Yeah,
uh,
throwback. I'm telling you, these Stover throwback people. I told you, Jordan.
yeah, no, it's just us. But I mean, anymore, I mean, we bucket feed the cows. So 5-gallon buckets full, feed, I mean, every morning and every night. I mean, that's how we're feeding them. We got a steer stuffer for the fat ones, which is really just you dump the feed in this big, almost like a big, large feeder that just gravity flows down. They eat as they want. But the young ones, you gotta start slower because it's just like a young kid. Like, they don't know when to stop eating and make your stomach hurt. So you got to control what they eat until they're old enough to really know how much to eat. But other than that, I mean, right now we're making hay in the summer, cutting, harvesting everything in the fall. In the winter, you're
Still
hauling
don't got a
manure.
Lamborghini tractor, do you?
No fucking
I'm
Lamborghini.
to whoop Trevor's ass for that.
Okay,
No,
now continue, please, if you were.
no, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's the farm life.
Okay, 100%. And Mr. Stover, and being an Ohio State football player is a 24/7 job. And from when I toured the farm in Iowa, being a farmer is a 24/7 job. Right when you come home, is it let's get to work on the farm? Is it that much excitement about being on the farm? Do you miss it when you're playing football at all?
Oh, I mean, farming, that was my first love. That's still, I mean, if I had to choose one thing to do for the rest of my life, I would farm. And that's what I'm going to do. But I mean, when I come home every weekend, except during the season, of course, but out of the season, I come home every single weekend, and it just whatever Pops is into, that's what I get into, and we just start rolling.
So you just come home and give Yogi and Ace a real big hug?
Yeah, my dogs, man.
Those are your dogs. Okay, so that's wonderful. We got to learn a little bit about
Oh, hold on,
not
just
just
a
the
quick,
football
Cade.
play.
I did not tell him your dog's names, by the way. He went and did his own digging, so I don't even know where the hell he pulled that from. But he
Very impressive. Very impressive.
I was up all night watching at Stover Farms on YouTube. Okay, and I saw the day in the life of the great Cade Stover on the farm. But Cade, one thing we're missing on that channel is you said in the beginning you were doing the farm day in the life and then the football player day in the life. Did the football player never happen day in the life video?
Well, you see, I got hooked on that during COVID. I just kind of got a GoPro. I had my MacBook, and I made the videos myself. I would cut them and do everything myself, probably like you guys do for this. And it just, for the amount of views I was getting and the time it was taking me to actually make those videos, like, and cut them all up, make them look nice, put the music to them, shit like that.
Yeah.
It was not adding up. So that got discontinued.
That's very, very fair. Very fair. Okay. Well, now I want to talk a little bit about the chip on your shoulder and the toughness. Bryson said you had some very cool tattoos. I don't want to just focus on the tattoos, but I want to know a little bit more about what forms your play style, what formed the chip on your shoulder, and what formed the toughness.
It's a great question. I mean, my pops. That's really like.
Same with Bryson.
Yeah, I mean, that's where. Yeah, my pie, it all comes from my dad. Like, that's the hardest worker I've ever seen in my life. And I've always just tried to emulate everything he does. And he's always has. I mean, Bryson can attest. I mean, I kind of got a little bit of an anger issue or a little bit of a temper.
Oh yeah, don't we all? Cade
We're coming in hot. Okay, the great Cade Stover and the great Bryson Shaw. They're not afraid to brace you up.
But no, I mean, it's just kind of, and as you got to high school, I mean, you just really start to take pride in who you're around, the people you love. And I guess the more, like, when shit gets rough, I mean, you think about where you got to go, the people that got you there, and people you love, and that just puts an even bigger chip on my shoulder, really, to be kind of an asshole and talk shit.
Love that. Coming in hot, the great Cade Stover, aka Diesel Power. Now I want to ask you one question. So when me and Bryson shot the first episode, I've been watching Bryson play football for, his whole high school career. I summed up his game into fearlessness, grit, and determination. Do you think you fall into that same camp where the three values of your play style are fearlessness, grit, and determination?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty close.
It's a great three values. Okay, so now I want to go into a little bit more. So we touched on the football career of Myers. Tell me a little bit more about the high school career and all the stardom you had in high school. Everyone watching this probably knows Mr. Ohio, all that stuff. So tell me a little bit about what it was like, your experience getting all that recognition at such a young age.
So it was
and
really
still
cool.
keeping the level head on your shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool just because, I come from a small town in Lexington, Ohio, which is, we've had a lot of good athletes come out of here, but my goal was just to really just give back to my family, and I just attempt to put that. I love playing for my town. I love where I grew up. Like I will not live anywhere else but here when I get older. That's how much it just means to me. That's how much it shaped me to this. But I never really looked at like stardom. It was just always like, there's one game at a time, and I just literally took day by day, and just there's a couple of times where Bryce could probably attest to this, that you feel like shit might be getting to your head, or like you got a bad game and you look at fucking Instagram or Twitter and shit. But after once you got past like the month of doing that shit, and then you just play just because you love the game, and good things come to you. And it never really felt like anything more than just going out there and playing with your boys.
So it sounds, from what I'm picking up on, it was never too much of a challenge for you to remain focused. It sounds like the focus came kind of natural. Shit never got to your head, is what it sounds like. You just focused on playing ball.
Yeah, my family keeps me, like, I'm so close with all my family that it keeps me, like, as soon as you might start to have a inkling of a big head or something like that shit will get shut down at the dinner table real fast.
Yeah, well, I know if Bryson's head got too big, his head would be in a pretzel. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Stover, my dad's going to be pretty excited about this because he actually had a food truck at the Indy 500. He did that with his old man way back in the day. But you recently got a new honor that I want to hear more about. You were named the Grand Marshal at the Honda Indy 200. Tell me a little bit about what that means to you, and then tell me a little bit more about the event, please.
So that was really cool. They reached out to my agent in town here, and that's I can literally, the racetrack from my house is 5 minutes at the most. So
Okay.
very, you can hear the cars in the mornings when they're racing at my house at the farm. So it was always a big thing. We always sold raffle tickets there, during before football season stuff in high school. And it was always, it's a big event, around the country, and just in Ohio, especially. It's a huge event.
Yes.
Excuse me. For this little town to have that. And they reached out and said they want me to do this. And it's going to be pit passes and stuff like that, and be able to just go out there and meet, really rub shoulders with some cool people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And listen, the great Cade Stover, he's getting all this recognition. The guy is never going Hollywood. He's fearlessness, grit, and determination. Bryson, I want to hear a little bit more from you. This is your boy. Tell me a little bit more about him. Ask him some questions that the audience might want to hear.
Well, I'll just say, no, Cade, we can get into a lot of stories, but we'll keep that between him and I. We're like this, super close. But he, like you just said, he's not going to be a sellout. He's a guy who's going to focus, grind. He's going to, do his stuff at Ohio State and have a big season for him this year. But like you said, he's not going to let the hype get to him. He's not going to be a sellout. He's not going to fall for these big, big corporations and do all that stuff. He's going to remain true to himself and to his family. 'Cause that's who he is, and that's how he's raised, and that's why he's one of my best friends. And the people who are real is just, they're good people. So the Stovers are great people.
Shoulder to the wheel.
You should be a little offended, Cade, because Jordan's actually missing a third dog, isn't he? Is he missing a dog?
You're missing my boy, man, Big Bear.
Okay, whom am I missing? Because he didn't get shown in the Farmer's Day in the Life.
No, he's a new arrival to the family.
Okay, wonderful.
in April, my girlfriend's birthday was in April, and she wanted a little golden retriever puppy. So she had no clue I was going to get her actual puppy, but I did. I got her a little golden retriever, and now
Steele didn't mess that up. Steele didn't spoil that.
He tried to like steal. He messed up multiple times. He asked, like, she's sitting right there. I showed him a picture of like the golden retriever. Like, hey, you like this one? He says, yeah, it's a really cute puppy. I'm like, what are you doing?
Okay.
That's Steele. Like, you got to know Steele. Like Bryson, not like you got to know Steele. Like social cues with Steele are non-existent. He
lives in La La Land. He lives in his.
The great Steele Chambers, whom we had on last week. That's whom they're talking about. Yeah. Now, Diesel, I got one more question for you about the dog. So, I'm not gonna lie, in the farming video, you said Yogi and Ace were a slight bit chunky. Now, is the new golden retriever puppy, is he gonna go Hollywood on Yogi and Ace? Are you worried about that? Is that a concern? Tell me about that.
Oh, that dog's going to Hollywood, bro. That dog's going to Hollywood. He's not going to be in those trenches like Yogi and Ace.
No, okay, so he does. He's not Yogi and Ace yet, but he's young. He's got time. Okay, but I bring him. Me and my girlfriend Kennedy. I bring her and I come home on the weekends, and we bring the dog, and the dog stays out there with them. And we're attempting to let him learn from them. Like my dogs, Yogi and Ace, they don't come in the house. They're outside, 100% outside, never in the house, anytime, like ever. Winter, summer, never in the house. And my dog at school, of course, is in the house. So, but when he comes here, he likes being outside. The vacuum scares him. Oh shoot, what happened here? The vacuum scares him. So that's a little bit of that's kind of pissing me off sometimes. And seeing himself in the mirror scares him sometimes, which I still don't understand. But other than that, he's getting better.
Okay. That's good to hear. Diesel, the audience is going to put it on your shoulders to instill fearlessness, grit, and determination into the puppy. You think you can do that?
Of course.
All right, Jordan.
Nothing Diesel won't back down from.
Jordan, so, let's wrap this thing up. You said you had a gift for the man. What gift did you get Diesel?
What gift did I get Diesel? Hold the line for 1 second. Diesel, are you a fan of comedy just as much as I am?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Then for my friend Diesel, we have the official Ted 2 bobblehead. Okay? And this guy talks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this to Bryson. Next time he sees you, you're going to have a Ted 2 bobblehead. I mentioned this in one of the first episodes. Mark Wahlberg is my favorite actor ever.
I love it. I appreciate you.
Of course. It was a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much, Diesel.
As always, thanks for having me.
Good luck this year. I'll give you a holler tonight.
All right, man. Later, days.
Later.